NFL draft analyst Mel Kiper dropped his first official mock draft for the 2026 draft. And we'll be diving into his selections he had for the New York Jets at pick number 2 and pick number 16. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome into the Jets Report. But speaking about the NFL draft, if you guys want the Jets to nail this draft, go down there and hit that thumbs up icon for us. It's a massive draft for the franchise. You got 2 premium picks in the first round. You got 4 picks in the top 45. If you guys want the Jets to make some home run hits on all 4 of those picks, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. So Mel Kiper, with the number 2 overall selection in round 1, had the New York Jets drafting Ohio State edge rusher Arvell Reese. Now, we have talked about Arvell Reese a whole lot here on the channel. The comparisons between taking him or Caleb Downs, and we'll dive into it more here in just a second. But let's talk about what Mel Kiper had to say on Arvell Reese, saying the Jets ranked 31st in sacks with 26, and Will McDonald was the only player on the roster with more than 4 of them, 8. Jermaine Johnson is heading into his 5th-year option season, meaning the depth chart could be thinning out on the edge. With Coach Aaron Glenn's defensive background, getting that unit right will be an off-season priority. Reese played off the ball before moving into an edge rusher role in 2025 and has the traits to make impact there in the NFL. I love his instincts and burst, and if New York wanted him at linebacker, there's a void there with Quincy Williams entering free agency. Now, I'm not saying like Arvell Reese is going to be, one of those picks where you see at the top of round 1, it's like, all right, this guy's an historic bust. Now, I'm just saying I'm not completely sold on Arvell Reese because, yes, like Mel was saying, like you see the instincts, you see the burst, you see all the physical attributes, but what was so concerning about his play at Ohio State this past season, why wasn't the production higher? Because it's also not like this guy wasn't playing with good teammates around him. He had Sonny Styles. He had Caleb Downs. He had a loaded defensive line and loaded teammates around him where it's not like he was getting majority of the attention. So, yes, he has all the physical attributes. It kind of reminds me almost of like a Trayvon Walker, where Trayvon Walker's having a fine NFL career, but was he worth the number 1 overall pick? Is Arvell Reese worth the number 2 overall pick? I have my doubts. Now, the Reese scouting report, I think it's I don't think it takes too much hard-hitting analysis to really dive into who he is as a prospect. Like, he has all the physical tools. A combination of size, speed, and strength is all there. His experience at an NFL-level defensive scheme with Matt Patricia is obviously a positive. Now, obviously, zone coverage skills, change of direction are question marks for him as he is turning into more of a pure pass rusher. But if we want to compare him to some of his running mates here in the class, like I would have more interest in David Bailey and Ruben Bain. Obviously, Arvell Reese has more of the just natural athletic ability compared to these other 2, and it's not saying Bain and Bailey aren't athletic freaks, because they very well are in their own right. But, I mean, you see Bain, 9.5 sacks. David Bailey had a very, very good year, 14.5 sacks. And, Arvell Reese only had 6.5. And, Ruben Bain and David Bailey are more intriguing prospects to me than Arvell Reese because, I can already see this happening in the NFL draft. They're going to measure Ruben Bain's arms. They're going to come in a little shorter than anticipated, and there's going to be the stat out there that no player in NFL history has had 4+ sacks in a season with Ruben Bain's arm length. That's going to happen. He might fall down the draft. So I think ideally for the Jets, I would like to trade down from number 2, have another team kind of get, fall in love with Arvell Reese. Jets trade down, and you're landing Ruben Bain or a David Bailey if you do want to go edge rusher with the first-round pick in the top 10. And, at the end of the day, I think with the Jets, I'm taking production over potential. And I think the Jets should probably have that same mindset because, right now in New York, they need to hit on this pick. And I just think Arvell Reese, maybe his ceiling is a lot higher than a David Bailey, than a Ruben Bain, but the floor of Bain and Bailey compared to Reese, I think, in my personal opinion, is a lot higher. And also, when it comes to these edge rushers, when I watch you, just the raw TV copy, do you pop off the screen? Ruben Bain popped off the screen in the Natty and throughout the entire college football playoff. Same with David Bailey throughout the entire season at Texas Tech. I never felt that with Arvell Reese. So I might be a little more down on Arvell than a lot of you guys watching today's show. But hey, you guys pick an edge rusher for me. Give me an RB for Ruben Bain. Give me a DB for David Bailey. And give me an AR for Arvell Reese. If I had to pick one, I'm going Ruben Bain. If the Jets took him at number 2, I'd honestly be cool with it. It would be a little bit of a reach, and I understand the arm length situation going on there, but I think he is going to be a super high floor edge rusher. I don't know if he'll ever be a guy where it's like he's going to be top 5 in the league, but I think he's got top 10 potential, and I think he's got a better chance of hitting top 10 compared to these other 2 guys listed here. But you guys let me know. Pick an edge for me down below in the comments section. Now we'll dive into who Mel Kiper, and this is going to be a fun one, who we had the Jets taking at pick number 16. But if you guys want to get this Jets long sleeve, it is over 50% off right now. Just hit this link, chatsports.com/Jets long sleeve. I'll have that for you guys in the comment section and description of today's show. Really cool look there. So check it out down below. All right, so obviously the Jets have the number 16 overall pick as well. And he had the Jets actually going a quarterback, and this one being Ty Simpson, the QB out of Alabama. So a lot to unpack here. I've been making the case on the channel. I think the Jets' first 4 picks in the top 45. Let's go defense, 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 and defense. But Mel, he's a fan of Ty Simpson. That's what he had to say, saying there just isn't another top 5 quarterback prospect in this class right now beyond Fernando Mendoza. But getting linebacker Arvell Reese there, then getting the class's QB2 here, that's a pretty good first round for New York. Let's be clear, though. I do have some concerns about Simpson. He has 15 career starts, which means this pick would come with a lot of risk. That's just not enough experience. We also can't ignore his dip in performance in the second half of the 2025 season, but there also is no questioning his upside. Simpson has good pocket presence, and if he fired 28 touchdown passes, only 5 interceptions this past season, if the Jets can surround him with talent on offense and develop him, he has a high ceiling. I completely disagree with the high ceiling angle on Ty Simpson. I understand his arm is extremely live, but it's not like this guy's got like a huge boom or bust arm or boom or bust potential. I completely disagree with that. And listen, if the Jets were to go Arvell Reese and Ty Simpson, in my opinion, that just screams we're looking back at that first round and like both those guys could be historic busts. Like I would rather go the safe routes. Like go get Ruben Bain at number 2 and then go potentially get like a Mansour Delane at 16 or a Jermod McCoy. Like just go get more talent defensively. Or if you really want to sure yourself to not have any busts in this draft, just draft Caleb Downs at 2. I don't want to hear the BS about taking a safety that high in the draft. That's what I would do. But hey, if the Jets do try to get Simpson, this is our scouting report on him. Now, he does throw the ball with a lot of velocity. But I just think his arm strength is it's just not up there to other quarterbacks we have seen taken in the first round over the last couple of years of the NFL draft. Like, yes, he can have a lot of velocity, especially attacking the middle of the field. His arm does remind me, in terms of just velocity-wise, kind of similar to a guy like J.J. McCarthy when he was coming out. And listen, ball security with Ty Simpson, obviously it's got to, improve because, we have really seen him the second half of the season, like Mel was saying, like he took a huge dip. Like if you were going back and looking at mock drafts back in October, back in November, we were seeing this guy getting mocked top 5 pretty much every single time. But, this season, taking 29 sacks, he had 7 fumbles, and he lost 6 of them. And that's at the college football level. What are you going to do when you're in the NFL and you're going against Will Anderson, you're going against Myles Garrett, you're going against these guys who just are at a higher level of play than these guys in the SEC? So obviously that's got to get a lot better, and that just, again, starts to have the makeup of him potentially being a bust. And, he does have an injury history. He was beat up a lot this last season. Now, I also do think if I want to play devil's advocate with myself, I think the injury history also played a big impact on him having a huge, down dip in the second half of the season, but he was dealing with a lower back. He was having an elbow injury, which is obviously huge when you're throwing the football, a fractured rib as well. So he was having injuries back in 2025, which, none of these are like catastrophic. Like none of these are a torn ACL or a broken arm, for example. But the injury history, is no doubt there for a guy like Ty Simpson. Now, he also can get caught staring down wide receivers. We saw this. You can see this on the TV copy a whole lot, especially that regular season game against Oklahoma, not the playoff one. He was staring his guys down, a bunch. And when you have a guy like Ryan Williams, you're probably going to stare him down a lot. But he'll probably do the same thing in the NFL with Garrett Wilson. So we can do that. And also interior pressure, always an issue with a guy like Ty Simpson. Most quarterbacks don't deal with interior pressure too well, but, that can really be said about Ty, especially this past season, at Alabama. So, listen, I think he does have some upside. I just think for the Jets right now, you're just not ready for a quarterback. Now, if the Jets were in a position where it's like you're the Los Angeles Rams and you have that infrastructure and you have like the 2 good receivers, you got Sean McVay, yes, I would be much more open to a guy like Ty Simpson because he definitely needs a lot of work. Like, I don't think he comes to the New York Jets and all these downsides of his game just immediately get fixed. I don't think that would be the case. But with where the Jets are at, load up on defense, go build that identity that Aaron Glenn wants. Like, he wants to go back to where it's like, oh, the Jets got a badass defense. They're top 5 in the league. You want to do that? You go spend your first 4 picks in the NFL draft on that side of the football. And you know what? If you took another defender at pick number 16, then I'll be more open to the Arvell Reese pick. Because it's like, all right, you are taking a chance on a guy that could be a premier edge rusher in the National Football League. But if they went Arvell Reese and then Ty Simpson, I would absolutely hate it. But you guys let me know. What say you? Should the Jets draft a quarterback? Give me a Y for yes. Give me an N for no. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. We'll get on out of here. As always, go Jets.